Hi everyone, it's Nathanial Bibby here. Welcome to our first client webinar. I put this together because I did want to really update you on some key stuff which we've learned from feedback from clients, but also just from what's happening in the industry. And I think that we really have to build a culture that can adapt to change. Most of you would be aware that Becky Lowe has moved on from the group. She went over to England and happened to catch up with an old flame and her family, and couldn't resist staying in England. So I was quite surprised, to be honest, as she really enjoyed working with the group and especially working with each of our clients. So anyway, we've got Lisa Sau who's joined us, who has extensive background in project management actually, and she's going to be looking after a lot of the projects. A lot of you've already met her, and also I've got confirmation that Jessica will be joining us yesterday, who's going to be in account manager. We've got Paul May, who specialises in the financial services market, Jordan Baker, who's one of our LinkedIn strategists, and then obviously myself. So it's quite a tight-knit team, and we have built some systems and processes lately which we're quite pleased about. And it's important that we don't leave these clients that have been with us since day one behind. When we do bring on new clients, they're all on a new system now, the new processes, and I want to make sure that we look after our existing clients. So this is what this update's about. At the end of it, before we hop into the call, I would like to say, as we go through, if you have any ideas or any feedback that you can share with us about this form of delivery, please do. I know that some of you have to leave within 30 minutes, so we are going to be quite, rushing through this, and I'll make sure that the recording will get to you all. Areas to be addressed. The viability of using LinkedIn groups versus the find, connect, engage model. For those of you that are not quite sure what this means, you can message people through groups even though you may not happen to be a connection of theirs, and you can also search and find people, connect with them, and send them a message that way. And we sort of started with the find, connect, engage model, and then ended up moving towards groups because clients wanted results, and results as messages, connections like, oh yeah, it's much better strategy, but it's not as easy to measure. So that's how that evolved. And what actually happened was, I think there's been a misalignment of expectations along the way. So I want to go into that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But before we do that, I also want to cover some of the other areas which are, what we're measuring in terms of performance measures, message scripts, the process for adapting and introducing change into strategies, campaign conversion, what we're going to focus on, leads, good quality leads, and not spend a lot of our time responding to people that aren't relevant, and build a relationship that is based on results. And it's part of the reason why we're having this discussion is I want to have these open communication lines moving forward. And effective reporting and communication, so that we're getting the feedback we need, and you're getting the feedback you need, and we're all getting the results out of the business relationship. So that leads me into my next point, which is a question essentially like, what is the number one key to long-term success in digital marketing? And I have asked a few of you that are on the call what your thoughts are around this, and I was pleasantly surprised that a lot of you said exactly the same thing, which I've said to myself throughout my career, and that's to have the ability to be, first of all, able but also willing to adapt to change when required. And I say when required because we all know that the social media world is evolving so quickly at the moment, and I just posted yesterday a post about what happens over the holidays, and engagement like over Christmas break on social media is a lot higher than it is at other times, even in B2B markets. And you think to yourself, well, how many of your competitors are actually catching on to this? Because a lot of people just make the assumption, well, they're not in the office, they don't, they're not interested, there's no point in spending any money. But that's actually a bit limiting, because you think about it, people are there making their decisions about where to spend their time and money for 2015. So why wouldn't they be on social media? And if you're not part of the conversation, then somebody else is. And generally that's the sort of thing that can make your business have the competitive edge, which is really the premise behind why we started this business in the first place. So to be successful in long-term digital marketing, you must have a culture that is willing and able to adapt to change. Throughout the 9 months that we've had lead generation campaigns running on LinkedIn, some have been nothing short of remarkable. We've had some tremendous results, and there have been some challenges along the way as well, which have helped us learn and adapt and stimulated innovation to improve further with whether it's with technology or our internal systems, processes, client communications, etc., etc. So we're always looking for measures to protect our clients by developing these best practice techniques. I'm sure you would have heard these before, and I have actually documented these, which we're going to go in momentarily. I'm conscious of time, so I won't rabble on too much, and I will be sending you a few resources. So if we look at the comparison between groups in the Find Connect model, we actually find that the quality of the leads in the Find Connect is a lot higher. It's lower risk. In groups, there's only that one search bar, so you can only search by one keyword, and what it does is it actually crawls a whole LinkedIn profile, trying to find that keyword for you to be able to connect with people in your key target market. And it's quite limiting because in the Find Connect model, we use the advanced search tab, and it actually means we can choose the job title, choose the industry, even a 15-kilometre radius of the Melbourne CBD as an example. And what it means is we're more likely to hit the people that we're targeting. The reporting's easier because literally when people accept connections requests, it just shows up. We can very much re-engage with them because they are existing connections. We build the data, which is an asset for the business and the individual that owns the profile. And it's multi-touch, approach because you connect with them, they accept, and it's almost like just a permission to get in touch. So we find that the Find Connect model works better. We encourage all of our clients to be onto it, and and so quite often we'll if it's not going to work through LinkedIn groups, we'll quite often walk away from the campaign. Okay, so if we look at performance measures here with this slide, I do feel like some of the guys that came on board and been with us from the very start have been just let down a little bit because we focused on the number of messages that we sent out. So we think about it as a little bit counterintuitive when you think about somebody who's trying to get through a message quota. They're not really thinking about the best interests of the quality of leads and that kind of thing. And it's actually more important to have good quality than it is quantity. So we've realigned things and we've focused on the middle one there, which is leads, and less on the number of messages. And to be honest with you, in order for us to generate quality leads, we do actually have to spend quite a bit of time using the advanced search tool, doing some research, sometimes cross-referencing data with Google, that kind of thing, to get a better quality lead. And so essentially what it means is we're realigning the packages with leads, which makes it easier to measure things like cost per lead and so on and so forth. So in order to leverage results, there's a few ways that you can look at doing it. Obviously, quality reporting is absolutely paramount. You're never going to know where to kick the football if you don't know where the goalposts are, so to speak. And scalable, low risk, high engagement. Risk is an important thing to think about. At the end of the day, we are quite active on LinkedIn and pushing the boundaries, as to what LinkedIn allow and what they don't. And I think that if we were to use a strategy where we do build connections, where we have the data, where we can enter their email address and all that kind of stuff, it actually is a lot more reputable way of doing it, and what I would call best practice. Lead management, focusing on delivering you guys leads, as opposed to just throwing you 50 into an inbox full of 50 different responses, having to go, well, that person's not interested, that person's definitely not my client. How do I respond to that? Do I respond to it? Is there anything that's do I know that person? And it kind of have to go through an education process, which we've all been through, which I've been through, and the clients that have been with us a while have been through. But and then really taking a couple of days before you actually get to the 10 quality leads out of the 50, let's say that are really ready to do something, and maybe it's too late to follow them up. So I'm thinking what works really well is when we actually monitor the inbox when something comes through and says it's not for me at the moment. We have a very graceful thank you message that goes out automatically, well, not automatically, but as a scripted response. When somebody says they want to look at it in a couple of months' time, then we just make a note in our calendar to follow that up as another engagement. And if somebody's interested, then we actually collate the data, put it into a spreadsheet, and supply the client with qualified leads. So instead of having to deal with 50 responses in an inbox in LinkedIn and having to sort of learn about social media selling and all that kind of stuff, you can actually just deal with a 10. So I guess it's a little bit like, I think social media is a little bit like fishing. You sort of like, if you're the first time you go and you throw your hook in and you don't really get any bites, so to speak, it's not the best time to give up, because you've got to take time and effort, I guess, to learn, what works and what doesn't. As brands learn how to fish properly, so to speak, they start to generate bites or engagement as the fish, prospects respond to the right, techniques. And it's no different, in this social media campaign. It's very different to the old style of marketing. And it's even a little bit like, dating. If you just send them one message and you don't bother to re-engage that potential client, it's a bit like going out on one date and not, following up and going on a second or third, and giving yourself an opportunity at, closing. And that's when a multi-channel campaign comes into it. You will be hearing about 99 leads, no doubt. In the new year, we're launching a joint venture with a telemarketing agency, which actually allows us to hit prospects from both LinkedIn and also the telephone, which is the ultimate, I believe, in lead generation, and should be some outstanding results that the country may be, quite surprised about, I believe. And this is our new and improved service, which you're going to get a link to after the call later on this afternoon. I'd encourage you all to read through that and see exactly what's involved. Some information about lead management. This is when we basically respond and manage the client's inbox based on the scripts and strategies that we have in place, using correct etiquette, best practice, forwarding you summary of the leads each week, exporting all your LinkedIn contacts as we go into a database for your convenience, ensuring best practices are followed at all times, hassle-free management, etc., etc. And then lead nurturing, which is the next stage, is really about contacting people that for a second time, like maybe a couple months later. Content marketing designed to build your thought leadership methodology. People will start to perceive you as an expert, which will do phenomenal things for your engagement and your reputation. And also leadership strategy with LinkedIn Publisher. And we also do manage campaigns on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We can do it all, depending on whether or not it's right for your business. But generally, if it ends up putting you on the first page of Google, we encourage it. So those are the best practice terms there. Measure leads, not messages. Embrace connect, engage model. Allow the strategist flexibility to use groups. In terms of change requests and things like that, during the strategy calls that we have once every fortnight, that's the time to raise suggested questions regarding strategy. If you decide to change the message, or you want to change target markets and shift focus, it's important that everybody who's involved in the campaign, including the strategist and eventually me, get to see what changes have been made, so we're all across it. Because there's some things that I would have learned from dealing with different industries about what works and what doesn't work, and there's some things obviously that you would know about your industry, which I may not know. So in order for us to get the best result possible, we have to have this sort of process and communication lines that are open. So submit the change request. Your account manager will help you go through that process, and the account manager may even suggest the change request. And then eventually it'll end up on my desk and anyone else that needs to be involved in the decision-making process for approval. If for whatever reason, it doesn't get approved, there'll be a good reason behind it, which we'll share with you, and then we'll just take the next steps from there. But that way it does eliminate all of the going back and forth and having mistakes happen. The data service there for $4.90 a month, that's where we build, your contact details. I'm actually prepared to offer this to all of our existing clients in January, just to try it out as a freebie, as a gift from us for, let's say, for the Happy New Year, because I'm sure 2015 is going to be a big one for all of you. So consider that a gift from us. Try it out and follow up the leads. You'll also be able to follow up the ones that haven't responded, and I reckon that would actually do, quite a big step in your conversion rates overall, and obviously measure, review, and enhance. That process is outlined by this slide here. We implement a strategy, let's say 1 or 2 workflows over a couple of weeks. We measure the success of those, and then we review and enhance them in a systemized format. I suggest 2 reviews per month. Some of you will only be on 1. Just depends on what campaign you're on. And this is this table that I would like us all to complete when we do have a review. And so we can fill in requests, acceptance rate, new connections, and conversion rates into leads, which is essentially just a response from an engagement. And then we rely on you to monitor the leads at your end as well, so we can see if there's any discrepancies, and also the lead quality out of 10. So if you do them individually, we can work out an average quite easily and monitor our improvements as we go. So I think I'm pretty confident this process alone is going to make sure that campaigns continually evolve and get better as we learn from the market and take notes and so on. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the call. I'd like to thank you all for the time, for whether you're live or watching the recording. I'd really appreciate any feedback that you have on this form of delivery, because we're hoping to do some more of these. We really want to build communication channels with our clients that want to listen, and keep improving results for all of you. If you've got any topic requests, send them through to Elisa. We'd be happy to hear from you. And if you need to book in a time with myself or Jordan, or Paul May, or any of the team at all, just send us an email. We're really keen to hear what you've got to say and help you on your path to success. I hope to do 1 more of these next week before the end of the year, and we break up for Christmas and so on. So for those of you that can make it, that'd be great. But if you can't, have a fantastic Christmas and an excellent New Year. I'll certainly be having a glass of champagne for all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in 2015.